Hi guys, welcome back. I haven't made a video in a while, and it's just because we've had a lot of holidays and family visiting and then being out of town ourselves. And then whenever we were in town, the sky was too overcast. I mean, that is one of the drawbacks of solar cooking, is that you do need to have sun. But today I'm going to show you in this video that you may not need as much sun as you think you need. So today I'm going to show you how yesterday we actually had, it was very partly cloudy. It was partly cloudy yesterday, the entire day, and then it rained a little bit. But there was enough of a window of time of sun that I was able to do two different projects. So that's what I'm going to show you in this video. I made some rice for mango and sticky rice dessert. And then I also cooked one of those frozen meal bags that you can get at the grocery store from frozen. I didn't even have to thaw it, and it's still cooked, okay? Now I'm going to just preface all of this to say, if you are trying to cook on a partly cloudy day, you are not going to be able to bake bread. Like in my past videos where I show you that I've made a loaf of bread in an hour and a half, I guarantee that you're not, even if you let it sit all day, it's probably not going to bake bread, because you need to have that high temperature maintained for a length of time. And when it's partly cloudy, the sun goes in and out and the temperature fluctuates too much. So you're not going to be able to bake, but you will be able to cook rice, which, I mean, that's a really good thing to know, because rice, we all know that's kind of a survival food. So if worse comes to worse, even if you have the sun is going in and out from behind clouds, you'll still be able to eat. Okay, so that's good to know. I don't actually have any sticky rice, but I bought this jasmine rice and I improvised. So all I did to make the white rice, my sweet rice, is I just put 3/4 of a cup of jasmine rice from Aldi, and I added a can of coconut milk. Most recipes online call for adding about a half a cup of water as well, but you should know by now that if you're cooking in a solar oven, you don't need to add extra water. I also added some spices like cinnamon, ginger, cardamom, and nutmeg, just because I like a little Thai flavor when I'm making this dish. So I added that into my rice, and that's all I did. And then I just stuck it all in one of my black silicone containers with the translucent lid, and I just stuck it in the sun in my solar oven. Now, on a very sunny day, this rice is going to cook in probably 45 minutes to an hour. It's going to cook a lot faster, but because, again, this is a partly cloudy day, I just kind of set it outside around maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then I cleaned my house. And I came back about 2.5 hours later, and the rice was fine. So it's going to take a little longer, but the advantage is, like, there's an advantage and a drawback both to stovetop cooking and solar oven cooking, okay? So if you're cooking rice on a stovetop, you know that you have to baby it. You know, you have to be there and monitor it the entire time it's cooking. You can't just leave and clean your house. Okay, so that's an advantage to solar oven cooking, is you just set it and forget it. Even though it takes longer, it's cooking, and it's not going to overcook on a partly cloudy day. But it did still cook in 2.5 hours, so that was nice. But yeah, the disadvantage to solar oven cooking is it does take longer, especially if the sun is not consistent. So that's nice to know. I just got this oven thermometer at a thrift store, and I thought I would try it out, and this was a really good day to try it out because I can show you the fluctuation in the temperature on a partly cloudy day. Even this was right when the sun went behind a cloud, and you can see that the temperature is 170 degrees, which, you know, that's not hot enough to boil water, and the rice needs the coconut milk to boil in order to cook. But I just wanted to show you, because the ambient temperature was only 80 degrees at this point. So even though the sun was behind the cloud, the solar oven was converting those sun's rays that still came through, and it was able to double the ambient temperature, right? Because 2 times 80 is 160, and this is at 170. So it's still quite hot. It's hotter inside the oven than it is outside. So that kind of shows you too the fact that sometimes people don't believe that you can cook in sub-0 degree temperatures, and you can, as long as you have sun. All right, then the sun came out, and you can see the temperature jumped up inside the oven to 250. Now again, you're not going to be able to really bake anything in here, but you will still be able to obviously cook rice, because the water is going to boil at well past anything past 212, the water is going to boil, and this is past 212. So you can cook rice, you can boil water. You could even like slow cook meat, but I don't know, on a partly cloudy day, I'm not sure that I would really do a meat dish necessarily, just because you want a consistent temperature at 250. I don't know, maybe you could. Anyways, I'm just making this video to give you some ideas and just to show you my findings. So this is what the sky looked like for the entire day. You can see there's patches where the sun could come through, and then there's definitely a lot of cloud cover. So if your sky looks like this, you can still cook rice. And then, as I said, I'm trying to challenge myself not to turn my oven on and just make everything in my solar oven as much as possible. So that's why I was like, let me see if I can just throw this frozen dinner bag in the sun and see what happens. So you can see it's frozen. It's that Alfredo chicken you get at Aldi. And you can see those blocks of the sauce. The sauce is in these little frozen blocks. So the whole thing was frozen, and I went back out to my solar oven, and wow, look at that, guys. Even on a partly cloudy day, it still got up to 325. So that's, again, I wouldn't recommend baking bread on a partly cloudy day, but that's a pretty impressive temperature. 325 on a partly cloudy day. That's pretty crazy. So what that tells me is that on a fully sunny day, it's going to get at least to 350, if not higher than that. So that's good news, especially, in a survival situation when you need the heat to cook something or boil water. This is good news. All right, so sorry that my picture's wonky. I think when I hit the camera button, I think it didn't take the picture for some reason, and then it got crooked. Anyways, I switched out my rice and I stuck the Alfredo in, and I left that in there for about an hour and a half, which again, on a fully sunny day, I would only leave this dish in the sun for maybe 45 minutes because I wouldn't want the noodles to get overdone. But because it was partly cloudy, I left it in there for about an hour and a half, and it was fine. So after an hour and a half, I saw that a storm was rolling in, so I didn't want my oven to get rained on, so I went outside and got it. And my thought is, because I wasn't even sure at this point if it was going to cook that frozen meal. And so, but I didn't want it to get rained on, so I ran out there and I grabbed my oven and brought it in. And it was cooked. Everything was fine. So that's good news too. On a partly cloudy day, you can cook a frozen dinner in the sun in an hour and a half. So that's good to know. And so then here is what it looks like. I actually stuck both of my containers with the pasta and with the rice. I stuck them both in the microwave just to retain the heat and keep them as hot as possible. I didn't turn the microwave on. I just put them in there to store them to retain the heat. And then my husband came home about a half hour later. And so I did have to end up reheating the pasta for a minute in the microwave. But you can see that the pasta is not overdone. It's cooked nicely. I know okra is a really strange side dish to serve with pasta, but it's because my mother-in-law gave me a bag of okra from her garden and I didn't want them to go bad. So I thought this was an opportune time to make them. I would not probably ever cook okra in a solar oven just because I wouldn't want it to get mushy. So I cooked this okra in my toaster oven for like maybe 20 minutes. And, that was nice. It was good. And all right, so then after dinner, we had our sweet rice. It's not sticky rice, but it's sweet rice. And I cut up some mango and it was delicious. And the rice was cooked really well. I mean, obviously, if you've ever had mango with sticky rice, the sticky rice is definitely better. Just the texture is better. But this was not bad. So, I mean, it's really good news, though, to know that you can cook rice on a partly cloudy day. And you can cook one of those frozen pasta dishes on a partly cloudy day as well. All you need to make sure is that you do have a definite shadow on the ground. As long as you can see your shadow on the ground for at least most of the time or part of the time, you're going to have enough of the sun's rays that will convert into enough heat that you'll be able to cook with it. So again, I would not bake anything or anything that needs to maintain a high temperature. But for things like rice, where it can be hot and then cold and then hot and then cold, you're going to be fine. And especially, these pasta bags are really easy to, they're really hard to mess up. So this would be another really good thing to cook on a partly cloudy day. All right. So I hope that gives you some ideas, and thank you for watching.